Hello all, welcome to The Model Way, where we inspire, we motivate, and we teach both new and seasoned models industry standards. My name is Lenny Wheeler. Please hit the like and subscribe button today. Algorithms are moving. We're super excited. I'm going to be streaming on Spotify. We're going to be streaming on iHeartRadio. We're going to be streaming on Apple Podcast as well. So, and YouTube, by the way. But anyways, today's show, we're going to be talking about building a personal brand in your market. Our show starts right now. Today, we're going to be talking about building your brand. What does that mean? How do you get there? What is your brand? What is a brand? Let's get to it right now. Okay, today we're going to be talking about building your personal brand and what does that mean in the business, okay? Everybody should have a personal brand. Branding is something that sets you apart from everybody else. I'm going to be going into some details about that and kind of getting you figured out to what sets your branding apart from everybody else, what makes you different, what's going to make you stand out when you're getting in front of the casting directors, when you get in front of the producers, photographers, the modeling agencies. What is going to make you stand out? And that's what's super important in this business, because I believe everybody in this business has a brand, but we need to know how to capture it, right? That's including everybody. So like anybody in the modeling business, anybody in any kind of business, you need to develop your personal mark. And I tell people this like all the time, because I get models that come with me and we try to get them signed, and you try to get them a brand. And so if you're a manager or anything like that, you should be looking at each of your models in a different category and finding out what's the best look for them and what can be suitable for them based on the trends that are going on for the seasons coming up and some of the past trends to make them look a little bit different. So if you've got one person that looks the same, so like a lot of times people go to casting calls, and if you've got three 5'11" blondes that got middle of the back hair, and one of them that stands out and has short hair because their face is just like cutting like a razor blade. It's one of those things that you're going to look at and like, man, this girl looks unique. She's different. The other three are going to be out. And then this other one's going to have a little bit more marketability because her brand is a little bit different. Her signature is a little bit different, if you will. And so I had one of my models at one point went to Milan, and she went in with some really good short hair, and she was just absolutely beautiful. Just to love her to death. She went there and she had this look going in at first when she first came on to me, and then she didn't have the length that we needed, and it was just too long, and it just separated her face. And one thing that I noticed is that when she did that and we actually got her to cut her hair, it just stood her apart a little bit. And then I started getting more responsive emails, because sometimes you're going to have an agent that's going to send different materials out to some of the agencies, and sometimes you won't get a response. And why is that? Because their brand's not there, right? And so if you can learn how to capture that brand, listen to your teams, listen to your management, listen to your bookers. If you're with an agency, if they're telling you to do this, kind of go with it, like, especially like hair. Like I tell people, hair grows back, it's going to comes back, within a few months, and you just got to learn how to deal with it and just make the best of it. So when you're doing that and developing yourself, you're always taking pictures, right? So those portfolio pictures are amazing, because are just something that you're going to be constantly working on. You're going to be working on that to build your personal brand and go with the trends, or kind of step out of the box just a little bit, just to give yourself the edge that you're definitely needing. So, one of those things that comes with that is you're going to have to learn how to build your niche, or find your niche in the industry. And there's a lot of things out there and topics out there about different types of modeling. If you are a 5'2", brunette, you got freckles, things like that, you're going to be a really nice commercial girl. You're not going to be a 5'11" runway model, because not to say that you won't walk runway, but just to work some of the bigger brands at 5'2" is going to be very difficult in this market that we're in. And it's really subjective. It's not an objective thing like, oh God, this is what it is and this is how it is. And now there's certain circumstances that will step you out of the box, but there is runway stuff for petite models, as I call them. But you should be looking at those different kind of niches, right? You should be looking at commercial. Are you a plus? Are you a curve model? Are you a high fashion model? Are you just a regular talent, a regular commercial look Or are you a parts model? Do you have beautiful hands? Do you have beautiful fingernails? Do you have beautiful toes? Those are things that kind of pop into play on finding your niche and what works for you. If you're getting a lot of calls because you've got the best looking hands in the world and you're becoming a hand model, you know what your niche is. You're going to be a parts model. If you've got full lips and they're constantly using your lips as a market piece or a subject, that's what you got to highlight. Even your eyes. I go as far as your eyes. I've seen people with beautiful cutting eyes, blue, brunette, blue, brown eyed, just dark eyes, just olive eyes. Just round type eyes, slanted, more slanted. I've seen all kinds of types that can build a brand and just give you a personal image that's going to set you apart from the average person. And I believe everybody out there does have a certain niche that's going to go with them to give them the look that they want, but you're going to have to find that, right? And so one of the things that I've looked at as far as that's concerned, you got to look at it like this. So like you got brands like Nike, they're out there and they have their everybody knows their slogan. That's their mark, that's their brand, it's their niche. They're into sneakers, they're into apparel, athletic apparel, they're into all kinds of things in that realm. And it's just neat to see because everybody knows their slogan, just do it. That's their brand. The swoosh symbol that they've got on their shoes and all the apparel that they got, the hats, the merchandises and all the things that they do, they have that logo on there. And so people recognize that. So wherever you go, people, oh, let's get Nike. You want to go to the store, we're going to buy some Nikes. That's what I'm talking about as far as building out your brand and finding that, right? And so let's talk about developing your unique selling proposition, just to how to create a good, what I call a USP that sets you apart from other models. So really the USP is basically having that distinguishment, like I talked about, from others, what others have to offer, because basically you're a product, you're being sold to the open market in the modeling world, to clients and things like that. And what does your face offer that everybody else's face doesn't offer? Do you have a distinct mold? Do you have deep freckles? Those are things. Is your hair like a silver platinum hair? Those are things that are going to give you that unique offer for your clients, if you will. And your USP should resonate with your target audience's needs and wants and some of their points that they're looking for, right? Are you credible? Your USP should be believable and backed by the evidence of social proof. So if you're posting a lot of stuff out there and people are telling you that they love what you look, but you're insecure about it, that's your USP's right on point. That means you have a unique look and you need to capture that and captivate it on it and embrace it because it's you, right? It's going to give you more of a memorable look. People are going to always remember you and be like, man, that's that girl that was in that cover, or she was in that campaign with the freckles or the beautiful deep red hair that she had that she hates, or she's been bullied about it all her life. And see, what people don't understand is like most models that are out there, especially if you're tall and you're lanky, you were bullied probably when you're in high school a lot or middle school. And now those beauty marks that they bullied about because of their jealousies are something that can really benefit you in the open market for modeling, right? And so I love it because it's just going to give you that personal brand as a model. It's going to offer you a unique combination of your build and your artistic expression, with you're going to be able to get a strong social media presence. So if you're putting stuff out there on social media and making things happen, your USPs right on point, which means your brand marketing is going to be on point, right? That clear market's going to enable you to create targeted marketing campaigns that resonate with those ideal audiences, those people that hated you at one time or bullied you at one time or loving you at one now. And they're seeing that it is very possible to do the things that you do, or they're wanting to be just like you, right? So that's really cool. And I think it could just give you a brand loyalty, especially if you're hitting up an agency or a brand in particular, and they keep booking you over and over and over. You've established yourself, and give yourself kudos for that, because it's just a strong point that a lot of people just don't get to in the industry. And I believe that can bust your percentages up just a little bit higher, because you have developed that, you understand with your market value, you understand that that's strong, and you have something that others can't offer. So moving on to identifying, your values and your personality even, I like to discuss that because I think that that personality can be a huge difference, because a lot of times I see so many people in this business, and I have a lot of friends, a lot of agents, a lot of managers, just directors, and I know a lot of casting directors, and they're big guys as far as your personality and building that side, because that's going to be a part of your value system, because like your value system is very important and it's all you've got, right? Like if you have great attitude and you create if you were raised in a great family where you created a surrounding of your parents created a surrounding of having great values and moral values and being on time and doing all these things and smiling when you feel like not smiling, that's building a value in yourself that's just it's irreplaceable, guys. And if you can do that, that's going to help that branding of you just a little bit, because and even that with the personality, I mean, you should be friendly with everybody. Like that's just part of this business, right? Like you should be friendly with people that you don't even know. You should be friendly with the people that you know. You should be familiar with acquaintances or people that know people, because you never know who's going to be watching. And if you develop that quick in this business, it's going to give you that brand, guys, to get to that next level where it's just absolutely amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you do this, because sometimes I'll get models and they have some insecurities and they have a problem smiling, or they have a problem of showing some kind of interaction positive with other people. And, they may feel positive in their heads, but, you need to be mindful of the way you look, like what kind of energy are you giving off? Are you giving off negative energy to the people around you? Are you giving off negative energy to the people in front of you? I mean, you have to look at that thing and balance that out and kind of check yourself and say, no, you know what? I had a bad day today, but anyways, I'm going to go in there because this is my job, it's my career, and I'm going to make the best of what I can get right now to be the best person that I can be for everybody. Because I've said this a million times, when you're on set, nobody wants to work with just a stick in the mud. They don't want to work with somebody that's going to be a pain in the ass. They don't want to work with anybody that's going to have a sour face all the time. They want to see people that are glowing, smiling, being positive, not just with those people, but your fellow models too, because there's a lot of cattiness in this business, and that could set a bad mark on you. Your brand, if you want to make your life and have the branding, you take all these things and turn them into the positives. Don't make branding your negative. Do you catch me on that? Like if you're, what I mean by that is if you're having that bad attitude all the time, or you're sour faced or anything like that, or you turn your lip up every time somebody says something, that's setting a brand too. And it's not in a it's not in a positive way. It's definitely in a negative way. So be mindful of those kind of things when you're doing that, so you don't create that persona amongst your fellow workers there, right? So that's really a key point in this business, and I think that's super strong. So you do have that, and learn how to have your values in check, and then also working on your personal style. Okay. So this is really cool. If you something else that you want to create, if I will, a very strong online presence. That's super important, because if you're building that brand, you mark that brand around you and your specific talent or your specific look. You're gonna develop a huge audience, okay, with social media, and then with the things that go on right now with TikTok and Instagram, Facebook. I don't know if anybody uses Facebook that much anymore, but Instagram, TikTok, what is the other? Twitter, LinkedIn. These are all great social media campaigns that you could be putting yourself in front of people that you never know who's looking, because a lot of these brands out there are looking, and they thumb through their phones just like you and I do, right? And we consume a lot of time doing that. And if you're going to spend that time creating content and making yourself look good for your brand, positive or negative, hopefully positive, you're gonna get something out of it, right? So you want to be able to create that strong social media presence, learning how to leverage social media, learning how to leverage Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube. Seeing a lot of people putting stuff on YouTube now, because this content creation is like huge, right? TikTok's probably the biggest, but you never know who's looking, right? And so you want to make sure that you've got the right people checking your stuff out and making sure that you're getting the right content out there. So look at your content and what you're doing. Are you focusing in on your personal style? Are you focusing in on your face or your lips? Those things are super key and super important that you have to be looking at when you're developing this thing and going out there and trying to put this stuff together. Are they engaging with you? Good way to engage that is if people are engaging with your content. I mean, if you've got five or six followers, I mean, that's a different thing. You're gonna have to build up to that. But if you got 200,000 plus, that's where you're hitting it big and you're wanting to develop that brand, right? So, and that's, not just modeling, but that's everybody. That's like any kind of business that you're in, whether you're in kind of sales or marketing or anything like that. I mean, you're gonna have to still build and create your brand and set your mark. I talked about this with one of my influential groups yesterday about building that mark and building the brand. I mean, that's what you want to do. Get that thing up. If you are, you're signed with an agency, I know sometimes we get complacent, especially if you're booking a lot of stuff and you're going to a lot of casting calls. Are you continuously updating your portfolio? Are you adding new content to that portfolio? Is your bookers and your managers at your agencies updating your book? It's super important that you do that because it's just going to help bring that brand awareness to what you do. And if you're highlighting all these things and collaborating with great content creators, which I mean by is photographers, makeup artists, things of that such, it's going to help you get to a position to where you're going to be absolutely fire, guys. And I can't tell you that enough because I think it's super important because that's the way you're going to get paid. If you can't do that, then it's going to be very difficult to navigate through this industry. But you need to be in communication with people, and it goes both ways. I've had times when I stepped away for a bit and I stepped off and got complacent and just burned out, and we all go through it. But kind of pull yourself out of it and do the proper things so you can keep your brand sharp. You can keep your brand alive. You can keep it rejuvenated. You can keep it exciting. Those are huge things on this point to what you have to do when you're doing this, guys. And I can't stress that enough. But let's get to that, and so like when you're other things, I mean, especially if you're like an independent freelance model or even an agency model. Well, typically it's not an agency model because most agency models don't have their own websites. But if you have a good website, start putting that together and put your pictures out there so you have an online portfolio, not just Instagram, somewhere that they can click on and look at just your images, look at your face, look at your branding, look at your marks. What kind of mark have you put in the industry is what they're looking at. Can this girl benefit? Can this guy benefit our agency? Can she benefit or he benefit when she's going out and doing casting directors? This industry is not for everybody, guys. I mean, well, no, I'm going to take that back. It can be for a lot of people, but it can be for people that are wanting to put the work in. But you have to put that work in. And if you don't put the work in, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a hard journey for you. And so you constantly be having to collaborate with people and kind of find what's your best strength and going from there to help you move the needle forward. I like talking about consistency and authenticity. Those are huge things that I talk about. The consistency and the authenticity in your online presence is being consistent. If you're posting one time every 3 weeks, one time every month, once every other week, you're not being consistent. Like I've heard a lot of people, and this is the way this whole thing works is through this algorithm. And I'm not really keen on how algorithms work because there's certain times and stuff that you have to get through things so you can get what you need. But that's super, super, super important, guys. So keep that in mind when you're doing that, just being consistent and having a little bit of authenticity when you're putting your content together. Post 2 or 3 times a day, once a day even, but just do it at the same times every day. And, we all could do that. I could do that even, just being more consistent. And if you can get to a consistency, it's going to help you, Mark, and your branding get out there just a little bit more. Guys, please like and subscribe to the channel today. And follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook, follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Radio, and YouTube. I got a lot of them out there, guys. We're going to be right back. Okay, so another way to mark yourself and kind of put things out there is really just like, networking, and then keep collaborating. I think I talked about it just a few minutes ago, like collaborate, get in front of people, see people, go to events, go to workshops. This is going to help get your name out a little bit. But some of the times, like there was a model that I had another mother agent calling me and said, "Hey, is this girl with you?" And I said, "No, not really. I just helped scout her." Well, she kicked out on a runway show on me because she had to get with her mother agent, which is fine. I mean, do that, but don't make commitments that you can't handle, right? Like don't write checks that you can't cash, right? Like that just makes you look bad. But and typically don't even give an attitude with it. If you do that, word spreads, man. Don't put yourself into a negative attitude to where you think that you're better than everybody else. It's not like that. Stay humble. Staying humble is everything to help build your mark, and being a part of that thing that I called like just having that personality and that values. That's part of your values, man. Don't lose that, right? So you need to be attending events, right? Like if you're going to castings and stuff like that, this is all networking and collaboration. Just because you go in and go out of a casting call does not mean that's the end of the world. And they say no, they may be looking at you for the next season. You may have not have fit that season right there or that particular campaign, but if you gave the right impression going in, they're going to remember you, all right? And so that's how that works. But on the negative end, if you get bad attitude and bad face going in, they're going to remember that too. So you just better be careful when you're out there doing this and be mindful of who you're dealing with, because you never know who's watching, or if somebody's seen you of somebody else that they know. It all pans down, guys. I think also, going with fashion shows, when you go to fashion shows, hang out a little bit. Don't be in such a rush to go out, walk the show, get out, go to your call, walk the show, and then just hightail it out, right? Stick around a little bit and get to know some people that you never really talked to, and try to make a friend, because you never know that one person could know two people. They say that you're like one or two steps into really breaking in big with somebody that is not there. And we've all been there. And, I've seen great people, like I've had friends and all this stuff right there. And it's like really cool because like I even remember one of my scout friends, Beth, I haven't seen her in so long and I wish I could see her. She scouted Naomi Campbell, and Naomi Campbell still raves about her. And it's so funny that I'm friends with her, but I'm like one contact away from actually knowing Naomi Campbell, if I can ever find Beth again. But I mean, that's how the influences and the circle of influences around you are called into action and kind of work together, right? I think you need to keep on collaborating with other models. You need to collaborate with other industry professionals. It's super important, guys. If somebody wants to collaborate with you, they don't have to be paid all the time. You need to collaborate with them just so they got a good body of work that can help elevate your brand. And so making sure that you're collaborating with these people is a huge thing, right? Like if you got a makeup artist, they work with higher end clients or agencies and things like that. They see their work because they're going to be, if they're working on your face, they're going to see your work. So you need to be working with those people, because you never know, because I get it all the time. Like, who is this girl or who is this guy? Can we meet? Can we see them? Well, yeah, I mean, I'd love that. But you have to get yourself in that position to do that. But you have to collaborate. Get out of your burnt out situations and remember where you came from. If it comes back from a long time ago that you did it, you can still model, right? Like there's still opportunity there. But you have to set that mark with that. And the only way you're going to set that mark is if you're doing these things. And that's what it's so important about that. I love coaching people and helping people getting into this industry, and doing these things that people can help. It's really all about networking and setting that mark within yourself, guys. And so really to take it away, just having some authenticity and really just having yourself in a position to where you get that great branding with your values and then your personality. These are things that I've taken away. Making sure that you develop an online presence and communicate with people and save face. Have a good face. Put on a smile. Put on an ad. Even if you don't feel it, fake it till you make it. Those are the kind of points that I took out of it. I hope you definitely took something out of this too. My call to action, please, I take appointments for any kind of consultations that you might want to do. You can you can email me at host@modelwaypodcast.com. I'm more than happy to help you. Go see all the content on our new upcoming website that we've got, where we've got different kind of avenues where our shows are streaming and everything else, guys. Guys, this has been a great show. My name is Lenny Wheeler, and this is the Model Way Podcast. And until next time, hasta la vista.